Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first chairs meeting of 2022. Look forward to all the work that we're going to be doing together. And Happy New Year to Rochester, if we haven't said it to you yet. So first and foremost, I just want to provide a quick update on committees. As of yet, we have yet to announce the assignments to the public. I anticipate that will happen today. And so in lieu of that, we asked the staff to provide some updates on the various departments as they have continued to meet with the departments in advance of this meeting. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Chief of Staff to start with the Finance Committee.
Okay. So I sent out these notes on last week when I had the meeting. Josanne and I met with the budget director, Chris Wagner. We only reviewed the items in finance that came directly from the finance or budget department with him, but I'll go through what we discussed. The first introductory is introductory number 1. This is a standard thing that happens every day or happens every year. Also, I know someone was asking, the 2 additional people on the Zoom are the interpreters. Anyways, back to introductory number 1. This allows the finance director to authorize administrative tax cancellations and refunds for $1,000 or less throughout the year. Introductory number 2, that is an annual borrowing for the district. So similar with our CIP, theirs comes with their budget. And since the city is the school's borrowing authority, it has to go to council for approval. Introductory number 3 are just appointments to the Civil Service Commission. Introductory number 4, appointments to the Rochester Public Library Board of Trustees. Introductory number 5 was authorizing 3 different funding agreements, all for the financial empowerment centers. And introductory number 44 is reappointing the city clerk, Hazel Washington, as a marriage officer. And then the same for the neighborhood and business development legislation. I met with Commissioner Miller and members of his team and Josanne. My full notes went out and I don't want to go through everything on those, but just kind of going through the introductories. It was a short month. So for introductory number 6 was an authorizing to lease a portion of 1 Mount Hope Avenues to continue the services RPD provides there. And introductory number 7 was authorizing a grant application relating to CARES CDBG dollars. And that is, the city is hoping to get additional dollars. Basically, there's CDBG CARES money left over from other municipalities, and they're trying to reallocate. There were a lot of questions for that in agenda review, and answers will come out tomorrow. Introductory number 8 is authorizing the extension of payments in lieu of tax agreements for qualifying affordable housing projects. This is the item that we had a work session on December 23rd. If you have additional questions that aren't answered in agenda review, obviously we can ask them at committees, but I would recommend looking at that work session as well. Introductory number 9 is amending ordinance 96-9 and extends the term of the pilot agreements at the Woodward Affordable Housing Projects. So introductory number 9 basically shows what we have to do for the 1-by-1 process that they're trying to fix in introductory number 8. And then that was it for NBD. Does anyone have questions on finance or NBD before we go to PPW?
Any
I
questions?
have plenty of questions, but I guess that's what agenda review is for, right?
Yeah. All right, so Beth.
And I'll reserve them.
Okay, perfect. And like I said, if we have any issues with the agenda review answers, since we have new members, those come out tomorrow, and then we can ask further questions at committees that would then be answered before the council meeting next Tuesday. Beth went to the Parks and Public Works meeting, so I'm going to have her give a little brief report on that committee.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Yes, I did attend the standard meeting with the ES. It was Commissioner Perrin's first PPW meeting. But all of the leadership team were there with him, as is the usual case, and they are all already well established in their roles. So we really just went right through the legislation. Josanne was with me. I sent a report on what they shared about the introductories, and rather than just read through those again, and I did receive quite a bit of feedback from you all, and I really appreciate that. Are there any questions on the notes that I sent? Anything that you didn't understand about my notes that you'd like me to try to clarify?
I think the notes were very thorough, so appreciate the detail that you provided. Thank you.
President Melendez, I just wanted to say that in the past, the chair of the committees used to take notes like that at all the meetings and send them out to all of council. I don't know if that's something that they would be willing to do again, or if you want a staff person to do it, but I think it is helpful to have everybody hear all the information in case I can't make it.
Yes, we've had some internal discussions about the process. We definitely want to have notes from the meetings, and we'll discuss whether or not that's a council member or someone on the staff side.
Okay, so for public safety, recreation, human services, there was no standing meeting between the committee chair and those departments. So we didn't review legislation with departments, but we did want to comment on the rules change. So we will be splitting, or we'll be submitting a proposal to split public safety and recreation, human services. And council leadership and I met with law, and their recommendation was, because there's a provision within the rules that says changes to the rules must be noticed at an official council meeting, one meeting prior to when it's going into effect. We will be announcing it at the January meeting officially, and then there will be legislation submitted in February to be voted on, and then if that passes, it will go into effect in March's meeting. Any questions?
Katie, what committee was going to be split? I'm sorry.
Public safety, recreation, human services. And it would be public safety as one, and then I don't know the official name that will be in the proposal, but it'll be along the lines of recreation, human services.
Thank you.
Will that be the only change, Katie? Because in the past, business development and community development were two committees as well.
At this stage, that is the only proposal we've discussed, but we will continue to evaluate the best method to move us forward. One of the things we've also talked about is having an ad hoc committee that looks at rules and the charter into the future. So we'll be proposing those things very soon. We just really want to get through assigning the committees and get the work moving. So once we get past this phase, we'll continue to evaluate.
In terms of that, I'm sorry, I was in another meeting, so I was about 5 minutes late. Have you assigned committees yet? Because all of the departments are asking me with bated breath.
Yes, expect it today.
Okay, great.
Close the business.
Katie, can I ask you a question about what you reported?
Yeah.
So the legal opinion is that any rules changes that we make have to be noticed one full council meeting prior to them taking place, or is it specifically related to committees?
I understood it as any rules change, with the exception of when it's first introduced at the organizational meeting.
And does that also include having a public hearing for it, or it's just noticing it?
Just noticing it. And it's not, obviously we'll be noticing it to the public by virtue of noticing it at the council meeting, but it's just noticing it to the council members. Yep.
Corporation Counsel Kingsley also sent all of us language that the law department suggested if we wanted to change that requirement. So are we discussing rules changes in this meeting, or is that at a later date?
I think we will, I know that there's some clarifications that we communicated with the law department that we want to make. And I think what we'll do is prepare that and have that ready for the January meeting. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so next is committee of the whole. I know we didn't go through these introductories at the agenda review meeting, but the process is that we will have committees hearings for those 3 members of the mayor's administration that he's appointed. So our first hearing will be Thursday and it begins at 2:30, and that is right before the council or the committee meetings. So it'll be 3 different members that you will be doing confirmation hearings for. It's the Corporation Council, the Commissioner of DRIs, and the Commissioner of DES. And it'll be 3 half-hour hearings. Beth and I are working on staff reports right now, and those materials will get to you all before the hearing. And then at the actual hearing itself, you'll all have opportunities to ask the appointees questions, and this will be virtual and open to the public via YouTube. And then we're going to do the second set of confirmation hearings in lieu of a work session on Thursday, January 20th at 4:30. And that's the fire chief, the HR director, and the NBD commissioner. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but the New York State law that was passed in the New York State Senate in September that allows us to be virtual does expire on the 15th. So that is why the meetings after the 15th say location to be determined. So I will update you all on if those are in person or virtual. And that's it for committee of the whole. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. So can you walk us through the process here? So these we haven't done confirmation hearings in a number of years, so I'm just a little out of practice here. So when we have these confirmation hearings, will we actually be doing it as the committee of the whole? Like we will have, it'll be a formal meeting, and that is the questions that we ask in the dialogue with the candidate, and then we will actually be voting at the January meeting.
So
or do we vote at that time?
the committee of the whole will vote it through committee, but not vote on it, I believe. And I'll double check with Linda because I've also never done a confirmation hearing aside from the PAB executive director, but you won't vote on the actual piece of legislation until the Tuesday council meeting.
Correct.
But
That's
but
correct.
we are introducing the confirmation hearing is as a formal meeting of the committee of the whole, and we will vote at that time as a committee of the whole. And if it passes, we will then vote as a council on Tuesday. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. And if there was any reason to not vote on, if there was more dialogue council members wanted to have, it could be held until Tuesday, go through the committee of the whole, and then go through the formal council meeting.
Yep.
Yes.
Thanks.
And so we have the first 3 that we're having a hearing for on Thursday are introduced, and I assume that the administration plans to introduce resolutions to appoint the other 3 in February, correct?
Correct.
Anyone else?
And Katie, I think you and I were discussing that in order to put this packet together so quickly, we intend to have it to council members Wednesday night. Is that right?
Yes, but I've also learned that giving deadlines can sometimes hit me in the butt. So, but that is my plan,
That's our
tentatively.
goal. Yes.
Yes, but there's only 2 of us and there's 3 people to be confirmed. So bear with us, please.
Well, and we can't control how quickly their references get back to us.
They've been great with responding so far, which is
Yeah.
very nice. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm.
I know for the IT commissioner, it took us some time to confirm him. What are the rules around how long a person can stay on unconfirmed, or are there any?
I actually don't think there are any, because we've had acting for quite a while. I think Mayor Evans was interested in not doing that and, you know, trying to really get people on board in as quickly as possible and go through the process.
Any other questions? Okay, so a couple additional updates that I want to provide. So we already talked a little bit about committees, but I also want to suggest that the board assignments will also be forthcoming this week. My hope is that, I know I've talked to each and every one of you about this, that also is taken care of this week. There was a communication memo that was sent out related to the department inquiry protocol. I think it came right before the chair's meeting. If there's any questions about that, it's just essentially how we intend to communicate between council and administration. If there are questions, I'd be happy to answer them offline, but please do review that. It's really just a way to organize the work. In addition to that, you should have all received contact information for the senior management team. So, you know, feel free to utilize that with the protocol. So any questions about those things?
President Melendez, that contact list is still in flux because not everybody has their cell phone yet, but we're going to try and put something together. And some people are using their personal cell phone for now until we get everyone's cell phone on board.
I just provided the emails and the name for each SMT member because I didn't want to make it more confusing than necessary, but the full list will go out as soon as we have that info.
Great, thank you both. And then the last piece of business, this is probably going to be the shortest chairs meeting in a while, is just a reminder of upcoming meetings. So Thursday, we will have our confirmation hearings at 2 p.m. We have our committees at 4, and then our public hearing at 5. And then the full council meeting is obviously next Tuesday. We'll speak to council at 6:30 and the general meeting at 7:30. Are there any additional pieces of business or questions for this meeting today?
Yeah, I made a mistake on the original agenda that I gave you. I had put 2 p.m. I would love if everyone was ready at 2 p.m., but the actual confirmation hearings won't start until 2:30.
Thank you for clarifying that.
And that was my question.
Yep.
Thank you.
And it'll be correct on the notes that go out. And it is correct on everyone's calendars.
Thank you. All right, if there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned early. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Care, everyone. Stay